there's no wiggle room in our profession. It's in many cases it's life and death. At that level, then it has to be in order, and order in chaos. That's the duality that we live in on the fire scene, because your policies has to be flexible enough for our firefighters and our officers to be able to make decisions, but they also have to be rigid enough for the expected outcomes to be reachable. If we have someone that gets hurt or God forbid, killed it at a fire scene because we didn't do our job setting the expectations and setting the training to those expectations, and then making sure that our officers are training to that and are reinforcing that at the company level, then that's a failure in the organization, and we can't afford that. We're all in the same boat. All of us in the fire service are in the same boat. We have policies, but they're not kept up, they're not vetted, they're not crosswalked with the NFPA standards and or the state laws or the federal laws, and that's not good enough anymore. The liability that we all are challenged with now is immense. When one chief reaches out and has a good experience with any vendor, that's important to all of us, because you rely on, like I did, the good word of other fire chiefs to be able to say, yeah, we've been working with these folks. They're great. They're doing exactly what we want them to do. They understand us. They get it. That sells everything. This job for me is probably 60% of the time I'm working on the budget. That's a lot of what I do. The other 40% is personnel, and politics. It's so freeing to be able to push this down to the folks that are doing the day-to-day work, that are going to be here longer than I'm going to be here, have that responsibility and give them the opportunity to show what they can do in that space. If my folks aren't involved at that level, then they're never going to buy in, and it's going to be another eye roller, and it's going to be, this just came on from on high. If I can say, no, our folks worked on this, you worked on this, this is what we all came up with, then that's what we're looking for in the long run. I would tell chiefs that if you are in the position that you have this haphazard conglomeration of these old policies that don't have any basis in the modern practice of the fire service, if you haven't been able to keep up with that on a consistent basis, then you're putting your firefighters and your organization at risk. And so if that's where you're at, that's where I was at, you have to take definitive action. Any fire chief should be looking to pass that on to the next generation and be able to say, yep, we got this project done, and through the help of policy builders, we were able to build that out and make it a reality for our department.